3. All right, guys, we're back on the show. This is the second half. I'm doing an exclusive now with Joshua Augustine, and he's got his manager here, Justin Bricker. How you guys doing today?
Good, buddy. How about yourself?
Excellent. Good. Just so everybody knows, this is the second half. The full half, if you want to listen to the whole podcast, you got to listen to it on iTunes, Spotify, IHeart Radio, and Anchor. But this guy's fighting this weekend, so I wanted to give him a little quicker exposure. So we're going to be throwing this on YouTube after we're done, ahead of the publication of the podcast episode.
Awesome, man. We really appreciate that.
No problem, man. No problem at all. All right, so Joshua,
sir,
tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into the martial arts? What was your first martial art?
Well, I actually was just an athlete growing up, and whenever I was my freshman year, whenever I first started high school, I just happened to stumble along a mixed martial arts gym. Found the number, went in that weekend and started training, and I actually learned jiu-jitsu and kickboxing the same day, so I didn't really start in any specific martial art. And that was almost 11 years ago. That would be 11.
You've been training for 11 years already?
Yes, sir.
Wow. So are you like a black belt in jiu-jitsu, or?
No, I'm a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. We have a really strict ranking system at our school.
Yeah. Well, that's how it is typically with jiu-jitsu in general. It takes a long time.
Yeah,
I've been doing it for 12 years. I'm still a brown belt.
Yeah.
But it takes a long time. So who do you study jiu-jitsu under?
I study jiu-jitsu under Mike Rogers,
okay.
House, and they're under the lineage of Rodrigo Baggi.
Oh, okay. So you're one of those modern new age fighters like Rory McDonald, where they didn't start with any traditional martial arts training and then develop and then added things to it later on.
Yes,
so you're one of those guys. So tell us a little bit about your upcoming fight. I think you're fighting this Saturday, correct?
I'm fighting this Saturday at the Casa Loma Ballroom.
Okay.
Here in St. Louis, Missouri, down in Soulard. It's against Tremere Holly. He's 0-1. I'm 1-0. Basically, I would just say we're in two far different leagues. I like I've said, I've been training 11 years. I've dedicated my entire life to this the past 4 to 5 years. And Tremere had a really shaky amateur career, and he's here to collect a paycheck, in my opinion. And I'm gonna go out and show where I'm at in my game.
So this is technically, is this like a pro fight?
Yeah, this is my second pro fight.
Okay, so how many fights did you have when you were an amateur?
I had 5 MMA fights, 9 boxing matches, I think about 6 or 7 kickboxing matches, and a ton of jiu-jitsu tournaments.
Okay. So you had 5 amateur MMA fights before you turned pro?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty good, because I hear, like, I don't know if that rule still sticks. Like, most people got to do 3. I don't know if that's, like, a hard set rule.
So
amateur fights, and then they switch.
Beforehand, in the state of Missouri, there were no sanctioned amateur fights until about 2 years ago. So there really wasn't too many rules in place. I mean, you could have taken your first pro fight after, taking your first boxing class if you wanted to. But over the last few years, the state of Missouri and the athletic commission have kind of taken over and really banded together to make a more solid MMA community here, to make things, more legitimate. They're actually in the process right now of passing a new rule, I guess, that you have to have a minimum of 5 amateur fights, and you cannot go pro without having over a 50% win rate as well, just to kind of keep, the sport at a higher level and keep, some of these guys like, a Tremere Holly, who out here just trying to chase a paycheck and, in my opinion, almost disrespecting, some of these fighters who, like Josh, who dedicate every single second of their life to being the absolute best martial artist possible.
Okay. And I also think it's also fair, right? Because there's some guys that may be their first pro MMA fight, and they could be getting going against guys trying to sandbag in the system because he's not ready, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now, What kind of kickboxing match did you do? Were they Thai boxing or were they American style kickboxing?
I guess they were technically K1, American style kickboxing, but I could
Okay.
tell kick, so it was kind of, I guess,
Modified
like
rules.
yeah, like modified almost MMA rules. Excuse me. I think all of my kickboxing matches were actually on MMA shows, so it wasn't
Okay.
like.
So you were allowed to kick to the legs then, right?
Yes.
All right. So it wasn't like the old-fashioned American style where it was above the waist.
Right, but they called it K1, so.
Okay.
It's funny how that happens. You know, K1 is, you know, essentially a rule set, and everybody's like, "Oh, I'm doing a K1 match this weekend."
Yeah, when you say K1, I'm actually thinking like the K1 champion.
Yeah.
He actually, Joshua, I forget the guy's name. There's oh man, I used to train with the guy because I'm from Jersey, and there's a Muay Thai gym called North Jersey Muay Thai, and there's a fighter there. I just can't think of his name right now. That you look almost exactly like him. He won the world championship Muay Thai belt like maybe like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. I just can't think of the guy's name right now. But you look almost exactly like him.
Gosh, he's got better kicks.
Yeah, it could be your double. Could be your double, man. You know?
No.
So tell us a little bit more about the preparation for this fight. Have you studied some fight tapes on this guy, or have you seen him in the amateur circuit?
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly believe I know what he's going to do more than he knows what he's going to do going into this fight. I've studied so much. I fell asleep watching this guy fight probably 10 different times throughout camp. Through my preparation is pretty simple. I get up and I run my 5 miles in the morning. I do strength and conditioning. Sometimes it's just like a maintenance for my body, and sometimes we go pretty hard on the weights. And then I have jiu-jitsu, followed by an MMA practice in the afternoon. And we usually modify it. Sometimes I have kickboxing in the morning, and then we have MMA, whatever I feel I'm lacking. I'm really lucky to have the camp that I do around me and have a very tight-knit inner circle that really takes care of me and helps me evolve my game where it'll progress in the fastest version.
Mm-hmm. Now, how long do you usually prepare for a fight? Did you know, is this like a last-minute fight, or did you know about this in advance? Or
my pro debut, I knew about 6 months in advance. This one was just right after with the same promotion. This was 6 weeks apart.
So yeah, his pro debut was the April 13th, and we received the contract for this fight probably April 19th. So it was right away that we had another one on the table. He first round TKO in his pro debut, landed 47 unanswered strikes before they stopped it.
Okay. Was it mostly? I'm assuming it was mostly hand strikes then, right?
He broke out the newfound elbows that he's allowed to use at the pro level. There's about 27 of those that landed before they decided to call it quits.
Oh wow! Was it mostly in the clinch? I'm assuming it was mostly in the clinch. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. You guys allowed to grab behind the back of the head?
So basically, I just came out. We touched gloves. I threw a couple strikes. We fell into like a clinch. Put him against the cage, body locked him down. Almost got mount. I just controlled him from half guard, almost got mount. He recovered back to guard. I just put him against the cage and just started raining elbows on him.
Oh, okay. Now, do you consider yourself more of a stand-up striker or ground fighter? Like, what do you prefer more?
My strength is striking, and striking has always come easier to me. But my jiu-jitsu is really solid. I believe in my jiu-jitsu. I have amazing jiu-jitsu partners around me, and the more that I go and train other places and interact with other people like in martial arts, I see how strong and pure our jiu-jitsu is. So wherever the fight goes, really with anyone, I feel confident.
Okay. Now this is just a regular match, right? This isn't for like a belt or is it?
Yeah, no, it's just a regular professional debut, 3 rounds, 3 5-minute rounds.
Okay. Do you have a fight lined up after this one, or are you going to take a little break?
I plan on jumping right back in there.
So yeah, we've been flirting with a few things that I don't know if we can officially announce yet, but
okay.
Probably August will be the next one, mid-August.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay ready to go. I feel like 3 years ago, I should have been at the highest level of the sport. So the past 3 years of my life has almost been very frustrating for me to not be able to provide for my family, myself, and everyone around me from what I'm doing, from how long I've been putting in so much work, and really how talented I am. I know that I am. And so this next year for me is going to be a breakout year. I'm going to take as many fights as possible. After this fight, I'm looking for the toughest guys for the most money. I want to fight the best people in the world. I want to show that I'm the best.
Okay. Now tell me a little bit about the organization that this fight is under again. What's the promoter?
So the promotion is Nemesis Fighting Alliance. They've been around for probably about 7-8 years here in the St. Louis area. The last 3 shows that they've done, they've sold about 5,000 tickets combined. It's been sold out show every single time. They live stream on Twitch.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. Do they stream?
Yes, as soon as the ticket sales close, they will post a link for the Twitch on their Facebook page, the Nemesis Fighting Alliance on Facebook. You can find them on my Facebook page, Justin Scott Bricker, or his page as well, Joshua Augustine. We're always linked up through there as well.
Oh, you guys definitely got to send me that link.
Yeah, we will.
Sure. Because I'm in the middle of building my website, so I could throw it up on there, but I could always post it on my Facebook page.
Yeah, man, that'd be amazing.
And my Twitter and everything. You ever get feed. So now this promotion, is it just strictly in Missouri, or do they draw people from other states?
So we do have fighters that come in from out of town for the Nemesis shows. Two events ago, the main event was another one of our training partners, Julius Anglicus. He'll actually be fighting on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, August 12th. So make sure you check that out. His opponent came all the way in from North Carolina to fight here in St. Louis. So I mean, they bring in some pretty good talent from all over the country.
Okay. Yeah, we definitely got to check that. I think he's going to be on the show too, and maybe next week or the week after. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, pretty interesting.
Nice.
Now, where do you see yourself going, Joshua? Do you see yourself doing a couple of fights with this Missouri organization and moving out to a bigger organization? Is this because over here in Jersey they got I forget the full name. It's the CFC Cage Fight Fury Championships. They're they're pro, but it's the step before you can get into Bellator. And UFC.
They actually stream on UFC Fight Pass.
Okay.
Yeah, CFFC. They're a pretty decent organization. They've been around for a long time. I think they've done around 80 shows, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So do you see yourself going into something like that, or are you just going to stay where you are now and then try to get into something like Bellator? Or
I see myself as a household name in 5 years, so there's going to be a natural progression where I'm going to have to go through some of these middle promotions, like maybe an LFA or a CFFS. CFFC, sorry.
Yeah.
I think any one of those promotions that I touch anything I touch is going to turn to gold. So it'll be good business for both of us. Naturally, I'm going to have to go through them. I think to get a bigger name fight, maybe like a ex-UFC vet or an ex-Bellator vet, so to get a more notoriety fight with a middle promotion, maybe after a fight or two with the promotion with now NFA.
Because I mean, the days of having that perfect 10-0 record that you need to get into the UFC are slowly but surely dwindling away. You see guys now making their pro debut in the UFC with 4 fights, 5 fights.
Some even less.
Yeah, some even less.
Like Dylan Dennis, he's in Bellator, right? The guy didn't get he went right pro. He didn't have any amateur fights.
Right. Same with Gary Conan over in ONE FC.
Yeah.
He's 5-0 now. And at first, they kind of threw him a few soda cans, but now they're trying to toss him to the wolves, and he's still out there shining with skin on. I mean, with wolf pelts on his back.
Yeah. So, how do you guys? Are you doing anything special to promote yourself as a fighter? To get into these bigger shows, or?
Really, that's kind of where I come into play. I handle most of the social media stuff, and as well as obligations with contracts and contacting different promotions as well. we've had our talks with a few people. I guess I can't really delve into too much. Like I said, we might have something we can announce a little bit later on here. But yeah, I mean, just doing the best we can to stay in everybody's face. Actually, New Year's Eve, we were invited out to New York City at Madison Square Garden to the PFL Championship by their marketing director. And so it was like 3 days notice. We drove 20 hours straight from St. Louis to New York City and ended up tracking down Ray Sefo, the owner of the PFL, to his hotel and went to his hotel room 12 hours before showtime and called him up to his hotel room. And he came down to the lobby and talked to us for about 20 minutes about what we need to do, who we need to contact with, and the path to really set us on to get to the PFL and to the next level. So I mean, we're here to do whatever it takes to make sure that everybody knows the name Josh Augustine and St. Charles Mixed Martial Arts.
Now, what are you guys' opinion about the PFL? I kind of like what they're doing.
I think
it's a great opportunity for the fighters.
I love it.
I love it. It's to me, the art of the tournament is always so exciting. Like you see March Madness, right? Nobody really gives a shit about college basketball until March. There's a few diamonds, but now you got housewives in Jersey who are picking their team winner because they like the mascot or their coach is cute, and it's just that aspect of the tournament that gets everything so exciting. And the fact that you're not pigeonholed into being stuck with certain sponsors and you can have a voice for yourself, or you could be guys like Sean O'Connell and not say a word, and you go out there and you win $1 million and you win fights.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, and I think the best part about it is it's ran by an ex-fighter, somebody who's been there and who knows the game and really cares about putting on the best product for the best value.
Yeah. Well, I think it also – the fact that they have such a big, huge pot, for that championship belt, I think is great, right? Because you think about it, like a lot of these guys, when they go into the UFC, like who's the guy that built Chris Weidman, right?
Yeah.
When he fought for his first title fight and he won, he got paid $20,000. I think he got like another $50,000 for bonus, right? Because he knocked the guy out. It wasn't until, and then the second fight when he was defending it, he got paid $200,000, right? And then meanwhile, I think what you guys do as fighters, between the training, just the techniques alone, and what you guys put your body through, is comparable to like a lineman in a professional football going head to head with another guy. So I always hear about these payouts for some of these guys. They're like, like $20,000. This guy's like fighting for a belt.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I saw a guy on the payouts not too long ago. One of Uriah Hall's last knockouts. I think it was his last fight. He knocked the guy out, and it was his debut. The guy's debut. He had a great showing in the first round. He was winning the fight. Got knocked out. Got paid $8,000.
Wow.
Too much for you. But whereas in the PFL, you can change your life. You could retire.
Or even Bellator.
Yeah, that's another one.
$8,000. There's people making that in sponsorships alone, just because they're that one guy from their hometown who has made it out, and all these local businesses want to support them. You don't get that chance in the UFC anymore, which is sad to see. The what is supposed to be the pinnacle of the sport is locking down their fighters into slave contracts at the end of the day, and it's sad to see that these guys who are not only dedicating their life but putting their health and their brain and their families on the line for this get shelled out for pennies when guys are cashing checks for billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if you had to pick an organization, Joshua, who would you it's 2 years from now, 5 years from now, who's the prime MMA organization that you want to see yourself fighting it for?
Augustine Promotion.
You want to be like De La Hoya, right? Floyd Mayweather. There you go, man.
Augustine. I want to do something different than anyone's ever done.
There you go. Good answer.
I want to make more money than anyone's ever made. More than Floyd. It's there. There's a market.
What weight class are you at now?
I'm at featherweight.
Okay. What was Conor McGregor at? He was lightweight, right?
He was a featherweight, and then he went up to lightweight.
Yeah. So now you got to start talking smack, dude. You talk a lot of smack before your fights or no?
I mean, I like to think that I speak the truth. I like to have fun with it. It is what it is. It's the fight game, so we're not here.
Some guys, I think they go a little overboard. I honestly think Conor just does it for the show. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think
I don't like Colby Covington too much. Like, he's funny. Colby's funny in my mind because I like, it's not real. It's not even close to real.
He just took what Chael Sonnen did and is trying to turn it into more pro wrestling.
100%. And I mean, I like to have fun with it. I wouldn't really want to take it that far, but I mean, I say what
it's funny how Chael did it, right? Chael does it. He does it differently. Like, he says everything with like a straight face. He's like the perfect politician. He stays neutral. He doesn't do it to piss people off. And he doesn't really do it to gain fans, but it works for him. He
was a politician.
I actually think he tried to run for like a local office or something.
So he had I can't remember if it was like an alderman seat or something, but he was actually an elected official in Oregon and served jail time for money laundering.
Really?
Yeah. It's like the first like 2 chapters of his book is what that's about.
Oh wow! I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all, man.
Character.
That's insane. Now Conor goes the other extreme.
Yes.
But I forget who. I think he called, what was one of the guys from Team Alpha Man. He called him like a midget or something.
And he's the one who gave T.J. Dillashaw the name the Snake.
Yeah.
And Cody Garbrandt tried to fight him.
Yeah.
How the tables turned, huh? Conor was right, though.
He sure was.
Yeah, he was. But, man, he cracks me up. Now, is there anybody that, like, when you were, starting out, was there any particular MMA fighter that you kind of, like, I don't want to say idolize, but kind of like, I like that guy. I want to kind of, like, be like that guy.
Yeah, Conor was that first guy for me. I always had favorites. I always liked different fighters and stuff. And was a huge fight fan, just like a nerd. Like, you could quiz me on anything. I could tell you stupid amounts of MMA. And but when Conor had his come up, just something resonated with me. And it was kind of a bridge period in my life. I was going through a few injuries, and life was kind of hitting me at the same time. I was 21, I think, so I was kind of figuring out what I needed to do, and I saw how real and how possible just being the best of all time actually is whenever you have the right people around you, whenever you're surrounding yourself, whenever you're doing the right things, whenever you're being real with yourself, being true to yourself.
Okay. Now, did you like him because he was in your particular weight class, or
his style? Like you said, he's funny. He's a character for sure. But mostly his style. Something that we do at our gym is a drill called touch drill. And it's a very lucid game that we can play without like hitting each other. It's very similar. Like, we're basically sparring going live without hitting each other in the face. And my style kind of emulates it a little bit. I'm a little longer, it's a little different. But whenever I saw him refine his game as well as he did against guys like Eddie Alvarez and Chad Mendez, it really showed me where my game should be and what it is capable of, even higher than that.
Now, tell me, you said you got a family? You got like one kid, or like, tell me a little about your.
That's this guy.
I'm the only one with the kid here.
Oh, all right.
I'm free. Martial arts only for me.
Okay. That's your wife and your kid right there.
Right now.
Yeah. So how do you now? This is fight week. Do you modify your training? How do you modify your training as you get close to the fight? Because back in the day, like Tito would I don't know if you remember Tito Ortiz. He was like pretty much like fight the day before, which was kind of like retarded in my book.
Yeah,
but,
that's me.
How do you guys modify your training in terms of fight week?
2 weeks out. from my fight, I start just going down to straight weight management. I trained like a savage before that, like 6 to 8 hours a day, like crazy, eat 10,000 calories a day. Like I go hard. And, but the last 2 weeks is all just recovering my body and starting to bring that weight down.
Okay.
So usually one workout a day with a run. And then once I start to get down to, closer to fight day, maybe cut out my run if I am close, if my weight's good for that day, like meeting my weight goals.
Okay. But you don't do any sparring the week of, right?
Oh, no.
You do any like rolling?
What we do is, like I said, we do this game like touch drill. So I don't have to spar. I can do touch drill, and I just got in 45 minutes of what is basically sparring, but without taking one shot.
Ah, okay.
And I get a good sweat.
Okay. Now, you do any live rolling in terms of jiu-jitsu or wrestling, or
With selective partners. My main head MMA coach, Matt Ricehouse, is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's a super technician. He's not like a smasher, so I can roll with him for all day, and I know I'm not going to get hurt. He's an excellent partner.
Okay. Now, do you find yourself studying a lot, like not this fighting, but in general, do you study a lot of fight tape on the person you're fighting, or is that somewhat hard? Because I know sometimes they change the card on you guys, right?
I don't know if you'll find somebody who watches more fight tape, period, than him right here. Whether it's, we stop and get lunch after training, he's popping up his phone and watching a fight that he was finishing from Fight Pass. Or if we get home from training that night, he's like, okay, well, now we need to watch Tramir's fight from 2006 or whatever, I mean, it's nonstop.
Like I said earlier, like I really truly believe that I know what he's going to do more than what he even knows what he's going to do. He's a very like wild, not extremely skilled fighter. I've seen what his tendencies are. I know right where he's going to go, and I live in this world, so I know right where he's going to be. I know right where to be, and I think it's going to be a quick one.
Now, do you find that watching a lot of these videos help you prepare for a fight?
A little bit. Whenever you get out there, it's always different.
Yeah.
But honestly, for me, it's a mental thing. Whenever I see a guy like Tramir and I watch tapes on like myself, there's no comparison. Like whenever I watch guys at the highest level, I can say, oh, I think this guy would win, or oh, I know this guy would win. Whenever I look at my tapes versus his tapes, or my tapes versus almost anyone really recently in the 145-pound division,
Okay.
I have my own abilities.
Okay. Because I see some guys would probably like use that as like a training tool. But then, I guess in some ways, all right, maybe it's good to not have like a plan.
No, it is.
You got to have a little bit, right? I mean, you got to know.
Look for tendencies and probably future opponents for sure.
Okay.
My amazing kickboxing coaches, the McCormicks, these crazy little brothers that are
Prodigies.
That are just prodigies. They're young. They're incredible humans. And we'll get into like deeper details, but like I said, he's not as skilled, so he doesn't really have like combinations he goes to or like things like that. He really just has a few ugly tendencies, and those are what I'll expose. So I will use it.
Okay. Now tell us a little bit more of the gym that you fight out of.
Yeah, we train at St. Charles MMA.
Okay.
Mike Rogers is the owner, head coach.
He's a two-time world champion black belt at super heavyweight. He's actually also in the United States Mixed Martial Arts Hall of Fame. He was around in the dog days of MMA. I mean, he started his fight career in '96 after he got out of college and started competing in jiu-jitsu and whatnot. And we put 7 guys through the UFC.
Okay.
So Tyron Woodley, he's actually, he's from St. Louis as well.
Okay.
Mike Rogers discovered Tyron in high school, was his wrestling coach in high school. And so Tyron used to come to fights with Mike when he was fighting, when he was still in high school. And once he graduated Mizzou, Tyron came through. He was with Tyron all the way until his seventh professional fight in Strikeforce. Luis Pena, who Luis Violent Bob Ross, he's fighting this for the UFC. He started at our gym as well. Josh Sampo, he fought on Conor McGregor's card in Dublin.
Okay.
He fought there. I mean, like I said, we've had 7 guys come to the UFC since 2007.
Okay. Now, is Joshua the only guy that's fighting from your gym on this particular card?
Yes. This weekend, Josh is the only guy from our gym fighting. We have a pretty strange kickboxing community here in St. Louis. Everybody goes to they all go to their separate gyms, but then they go to this one, we call it the kickboxing garage, and they all train together on the weekends. So we have a few guys that coach there that'll be cornering some fighters. But as far as, St. Charles mixed martial arts fighters on their card, Josh is the only one.
Okay. Now, have you thought, are you just going to be sticking with MMA, or are you going to branch out and try more kickboxing matches, or try to do pro boxing, or?
Well, like I said, I've done everything, and I'm not opposed to doing other stuff, but the money would have to be right. The timing would have to be perfect. Even better, really. Yeah, exactly. But the biggest thing for me this year is getting my MMA career to where I want to be. Like I said, I want to be at the highest level. So I would like to just go back to back to back as many fights as I possibly can, right into the next camp, one another. I'm in amazing shape right now, and it's only getting better.
Now, Justin.
Yes, sir.
Now, is he your sole guy that you're managing right now, or?
At the professional level, yes. We have a few more amateur fighters, about 6 more that I manage full time. A few other guys that I help match make with at the professional level at our gym, but not our official clients.
Okay. I assume you train too, right? Or do you do MMA? Or
no, I do a little MMA training, but mostly jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
I teach 5 days a week now with the kids class, and I run my own positional sparring class 2 days a week. And then I'm a certified speed and agility coach as well. But I come from more of a corporate background. I spent 5 years in the corporate world, working for a national produce company, putting together contracts for restaurant chains and produce houses and stuff, and really have always just loved martial arts and sports and jiu-jitsu. And when I finally started training full time, I wanted nothing more than to be involved in this community. I quit my job that I spent sometimes 16 days out of the month traveling, and have dedicated my life to nothing but martial arts over the last almost 3 years. I do a little bit of matchmaking for Nemesis as well, a few promotions down in Arkansas, and I've really just taken the bulls by the horns in the MMA world and dove right in.
Okay. Now, if people want to get in touch with you, Joshua, future sponsors, how would they get in contact with you? Do you have a website or Facebook page, or do they go to Justin? How would people get in touch with you?
Yeah, J_Augie on Instagram, or this guy right here on Instagram is @StackingBricks.
Yeah, @StackingBricks on Instagram. Most sponsorships I would prefer either on Instagram or through email, justinbricker22@gmail. And I'll send you the links to all this stuff as well.
Yeah, if you can email me that, this way I can put it in the show notes and add it to the YouTube thing they're going to be uploading after I'm done with you. Now, do you have any sponsors now, Joshua?
Yeah, we have 2 sponsors. Imposed Will here.
Okay.
Relentless Customs, a great custom T-shirt company. They made our shirts for this last fight. They handle all of our Imposed Will brand stuff. They make all the T-shirts for Andy Frisella in First Form, and they're right here out of St. Louis, man. It's a great company to work with. They distribute all over the country.
All right, that's good to know. It's good to know. You can send me that information too. I can include that.
We definitely will.
All right, guys. It's great having you on the show, and we'll be in touch. This will be uploaded to YouTube shortly, awesome. And then that's pretty much it.
Thanks for having us on, my man.
Marc, you're the
man. All right.
Thank you.
See you soon. Take care. All right, guys. We'll be back on the show after the short break.
Thank you. Bye.